Mark Twitchwell was born on July 4th, 1979 in Edmonton, Canada. While he was growing up, he developed a passion for filmmaking. He would attend the Northern Alberta Institute of Technology and graduate in 2000 with a bachelor's degree in radio and television arts. Mark was a fan of Star Wars, which led him to make one of his first projects, which is a fan-made Star Wars film called The Secrets of the Rebellion. Mark would give a short summary of the film by saying this: "The alternate story tracks show what happened to the last Jedi left in the galaxy apart from Ben and Yoda, how the Death Star plans were stolen, and what the Empire had to go through in order to track them down. I feel we've really blended elements of the EU into this seamlessly while taking some creative licenses in order to liven things up and adapt them better for the movie medium." Mark was also a fan of the TV show called Dexter, which is about a serial killer committing murders and trying to avoid getting caught. He loved this show this much that he decided that he wanted to make his next major movie project about a serial killer. However, he didn't want to make the movies like how movies are normally made. Instead, he wanted to become the serial killer and write his experiences about killing into a film. And this movie was called SK Confessions, which stood for Serial Killer Confessions. Mark would set up his killings by using his garage as his kill room, which was inspired by Dexter. He would then go onto Plenty of Fish, which is a dating website, and set up an online profile under the name Sheena, in which he would set the profile picture as a woman with blonde hair. On October 3rd, 2008, a man by the name of Giles Teteralt, who had recently gotten a divorce from his wife, was on Plenty of Fish. He stumbled upon the profile by the name of Sheena. Giles would message the profile, and him and Sheena would start talking. Eventually, Sheena would say that she and Giles should meet up at her house that night. Giles would agree and ask for her address so he could pick her up. Sheena would say that she wasn't comfortable sending her address on the website, so instead she would send the directions to her home using different roads and landmarks to describe where she lived. She would say that her garage door would be open and she wanted Giles to enter through there. Giles thought it was a little bit weird that she sent her address in that format, but he was still open to meeting up, and that night he would do so. He would eventually be able to find the house, and the garage door was just open enough for someone to crawl through. Once he entered the garage, it was dark, but he could see that the walls were covered in saran wrap. While he was standing there, though, he would be attacked by someone wearing a gold hockey mask, and this person was Mark. Mark would stun Giles with a stun baton, which sent him falling to the floor. He looked up at his attacker and realized that he was holding a gun. Despite this, though, Giles decided to fight back and he grabbed the gun. When Giles grabbed the gun, though, he realized it was made out of plastic, which means Mark was using a fake gun. Once he realized this, he fought back even more, and he was able to escape the grasps of his attacker. After this, he rolled out of the garage, since it was open enough for someone to crawl through. However, this entire time he was trying to escape his attacker, he was filled with adrenaline, which means he couldn't feel the effects of the stun baton. But once he got out of the garage, he fell to the ground, and the attacker tried to grab his leg and pull him back into the garage. Luckily, though, once again, he was able to escape the attacker. Once he escaped, he started running down an alleyway, which brought him to a walking trail, which is where he fell to the ground again. However, he saw his attacker off in the distance running towards him. Luckily, though, a couple was walking on the trail and saw Giles on the ground. Once they saw him, they came over to help him, and the attacker by this point had made it to where Giles was on the ground, and he acted like he was friends with Giles. However, soon after, Mark, the attacker, would walk back to the garage. Giles would look up at the couple so that they could help him, but this freaked them out, and they turned and walked away. Luckily, after this, Giles was able to make it back to his vehicle, and he drove away. Once he got home, he felt embarrassed that this happened to him, and he decided that he wouldn't report it to the police. However, this incident wouldn't stop Mark from trying to kill. On October 10th, a 38-year-old man named Johnny Altiner was browsing through Plenty of Fish, and he stumbled across a profile by the name of Jen. He would message her, and they would start talking, and they agreed to meet up that night. However, Jen would say that she didn't want to send her address on the website, and she sent a set of directions using landmarks that would be able to bring Johnny to her house. She told him that once he got to her house, to go through the garage and then go up the back stairs to her house, and she would meet him there. Johnny thought it was weird that she sent him the directions like that, but he ignored it. However, before he left, he forwarded an email that was the directions that Jen sent him to one of his friends, and was joking about going missing. Johnny would be able to find the house, and it turns out that he was early, but he would see someone in the garage. Johnny would walk up to this person, and little did he know, he would be staring at the person that would later kill him. Mark would lie about his name and say that his name was Harry, and that he was renting the garage out from Jen, and he said that Jen was running late, and she would be there soon, and he told Johnny to come back in 15 to 20 minutes. Johnny would leave for 20 minutes, and when he came back, he entered through the garage. However, once he entered the garage, Mark would swing at Johnny with a metal pipe and struck him in the back of the head. Mark would proceed to beat Johnny with this pipe, and once he finished with the pipe, he stabbed Johnny to death. A few days after Johnny's disappearance, his friends would become suspicious and report Johnny missing to the police and give them the directions sent by Mark. The police would follow the directions all the way to Mark's house, and they would find the garage with all the plastic wrap on the wall. Their investigation would continue on Mark, and they found the SK confession script, and they realized that some of the information in the script hadn't been released to the public. Mark would be interrogated on October 20th, and he would admit to killing Johnny, but he said that Johnny became furious and he realized that the date was set up and attacked him instead. However, this is obvious bullshit, and the police would be able to get enough evidence, and he was arrested on October 31st, 2008. Finally, in April 2011, he was found guilty and was sentenced to a minimum sentence of 25 years in prison without parole. He is currently being held at the Saskatchewan Penitentiary.
How much he's affecting me. I think he's sweet as taffy. He thinks I'm